Greetings, hi, and hello, salutations. I'm your host, Brent Piles. This is a work in progress wrestling podcast. It's Survivor Series. It's War Games. I don't know why. Thank you. I should have left that to Glenn, knowing that he's actually British. I shouldn't have just tried to do a bad British accent. Anyway, I'm your host, Brent Piles, a man who can do a lot of impressions, but a British one is not one of them. And with me is a man who's got a Christmas tree behind him. He is the mayor of Canton. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I have a Christmas tree behind me and a Christmas cake in front of me. So life is pretty freaking fantastic. And before we get too much farther in there, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you guys, even though I know Glenn doesn't celebrate it. But I'm very thankful for both of you gentlemen and getting to be in my life. You guys are freaking awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
We
certainly
do.
grateful to have you in our life as well, pal. And of course, as Glenn, the mayor, mentioned, and we wouldn't be doing this if Glenn wasn't with us unless he was in bed or something, but he's awake. Ed Harrison. Glenn, how are you doing this fine time of the morning? Top of the morning to you, Glenn.
I'm excellent, thank you.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I had a couple of these football results and everything's hunky-dory.
So if you're keeping score at home, the Gunners beat Nottingham Forest 3-0 on Saturday, and today in a very surprising outing, I certainly didn't see it coming. They beat Sporting 5-1 in the Champions League, and if you had told me that before the match, I would have called you a fucking liar because I did not see that coming.
Especially like Sporting Lisbon are on a 23 unbeaten streak or something, and they included Manchester City 4-1 in that.
Yeah, and they were up. I mean, I said this to Glenn too. With the form that Arsenal played in the first half of that game, they would have put 2 or 3 goals on anybody. I think they were just masterclass. The way that they were pushing the ball up the field. I mean, in fairness, they could have scored 7 or 8 goals.
Is Arsenal back to a fully healthy squad right now?
Just about.
Besides Ben White's going to be out for a couple of months after having minor knee surgery, but Erlaegard's back. Declan Rice has a broken toe, but he's been playing. But yeah, other than Benny Blanco, even what's Tierney? That's how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
Tierney is back. He's been out for a while.
Timber was out for a little bit too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Timber's back now.
He's back.
I didn't get a chance to watch this week because I did not have money on Arsenal, but that's another story. I had money on someone else and they lost and let me down.
Well, like I said, start putting money on Liverpool.
Sorry, Dan.
But we need to win the league. Apparently, the mayor's bad luck is the best way to do that.
I'm the Manchester City killer.
Well, they've been killing themselves because today, I don't know if you heard this, the mayor, but in their Champions League game, they were up 3-0, and then the other team managed to come back and score 3 goals in like 15 minutes or something like 15, 20 minutes or something, and it ended 3-3.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. No, I usually don't keep up with the Champions League as much as I do the EPL.
It's a little harder to keep up with because the matches are during the week, so that makes sense.
That's what it makes.
Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah.
And bloody complicated as well this year.
Yeah, because they've added 4 games instead of you playing just in your group. Now you play like 8 teams instead of playing 6 matches, and it's a lot. It seems like they have 2 matches a week.
It's a lot to keep up for an American fella.
Is it a lot to keep up for an English fella?
I mean, we get better soccer coverage than Glenn does. We get more games on than Glenn does.
Yeah.
Glenn's listening to it on the radio. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, you don't get Peacock over there yet, Glenn? You guys get Peacock?
Not the American version, no.
Oh, okay.
Probably doesn't get.
Because Peacock gives us tons of good coverage for soccer.
Yeah.
But not over here.
Yeah, between Peacock and in USA, you could watch every single Premier League match every week if you wanted to. You could watch every one of them.
And if you want to see any soccer game going on anywhere in the world, just go to your local Mexican restaurant. They will have it on.
But they have dishes on their roof the size that NASA have.
That's true.
You'll find an 8-year-old soccer league in Peru playing at a Mexican restaurant at any time.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, literally with like ESPN Plus, Paramount Plus, and Peacock, you could watch La Liga, you could watch the Bundesliga, you could watch Serie A, you could watch. I just don't know where you can watch the French league, and then also don't know why you would want to watch the French league. You might as well watch the Saudi league at that point because, sorry, but the French league isn't that great. That's why PSG wins every year.
Yeah, for January, I will no longer be in the future, and I will be watching all my soccer. We'll probably be calling it by then on a channel called Football.
Is that what they show it in Canada?
Yep, it is.
Well, that'd be nice. You won't have to stay up till 4 in the morning.
No.
That'll be nice.
But I will be watching Saturday early morning like you do for the 3 o'clock Saturday games.
Yeah, you'll be watching them at we either get them, so most of the time there's one game at 6:30, and then there's 3 or 4 games at 9, and then there's one at 11:30, and then sometimes there's one at 2.
So it'll be the 9 basically unless they don't seem to play Arsenal early on a Saturday.
Most of the time they don't, but I think there's been a couple of times that they played at 6:30 in the morning. I love a good 6:30 in the morning soccer game.
It's
That's
always
my favorite.
one game at 6:30 in the morning. Well, 7:30 my time, 6:30.
Yeah. But you like getting up early.
I love it. Yes, I like to wake up early. I like to have quiet time where it's just me. I like to have quiet and alone time because it's nice. And so that's why I like to get up early in the morning, because you get a couple hours of quiet alone. Except for when Arsenal's playing at 6:30, and then you can forget about quiet. Quiet's out the window.
You're being told to shut up.
Yeah, I try to keep it down, but I can't do it. And it was funny. I was watching the Champions League match in my car when I waited for Bryson to come out of school, and the other people parked probably thought it was something crazy was going on in that car, because I'm sure my car was fucking shaking with all the goals they were scoring. It's going crazy in there. But yeah.
Anyway,
what do you want to do first? Should we make our picks first, or should we give our teams first? What do you guys think?
Make picks first.
I do picks.
Yeah. I do picks.
Just so you know, the Mayor, the new top 25 college football ranking poll just came out, and Ohio State is number 2. So
okay, I respect that. I mean, they lost to Oregon. Oregon has to be 1.
Oregon's 1. I think Texas is 3, and Penn State's 4. I think.
Okay.
Speaking of football, I don't know if you heard, Mayor, but the Nebraska Cornhuskers are eligible for a bowl game for the first time in 8 years.
Heck yeah!
Record at least 500.
Well done.
Not the toilet bowl.
At this point, I'll take the toilet bowl. I'll take any bowl. At this point, I will take it. But anyway, let's look at the War Games card. It only had 3 matches as of yesterday, but now it's got 5.
5.
Maybe something will get added to it. Maybe it won't. But at this point, these are the ones we have. So let's kick it off with let's go with the triple threat Intercontinental Championship match. The champion Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Me and Glenn are currently the champions. So, Glenn, I'll let you decide. Do you want to go first, or should we make the Mayor go first?
Let Mayor go first.
All right, Mayor.
Oh, man, I feel like starting off the bat, I kind of want to throw a Hail Mary on this one, and because it's what I want to see. Because I've been loving the work that Ludwig Kaiser's been doing on Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching Raw as much as I have, but
I wish I could, but I can't.
Kaiser has been phenomenal on Raw. Like, he's really coming into his own without needing Gunther there with him to be a star, and he is doing great work. And I mean, the work that him in the ring and out of the ring, but in the ring, him and Sheamus and Braun might be the 3 hardest hitting guys in all of WWE. They are just absolutely beating the shit out of each other in the ring. And it's like big, meaty men that aren't, well, I guess Kaiser's not too meaty, but
Yeah.
just beating the hell out of one another. And I really want to see Kaiser win, and I want to pick him. But right now, I don't know if it makes sense to make Braun lose the championship again, where he's already lost it once to Jimmy Uso. So for that reason, I can't do it. But I wouldn't be surprised or angry at all if Ludwig Kaiser walked away with it. And there's also the whole Sheamus has never won the IC title belt. So maybe this is the point. Yeah,
wow.
He has not completed the Grand Slam championship. He is the only belt he's never held is the IC title belt. So that before his retirement, he's got to have it sometime.
You'd think.
And
with the time I feel like put in and the stuff he's done, you would think that they'd want him to have that. He should have it.
And there's maybe a way where he can beat Kaiser for it here and pin Kaiser, so Braun doesn't have to lose the belt. And it would make sense to do that. I'm talking myself into saying Sheamus. So now I'm actually going to pick Sheamus. I've done it. I've talked myself into picking Sheamus. God dang it. Why do I do this to myself? All right, you guys go. I'm going to let Angus out real quick.
Do that. I'll go next. I just I feel like it's going to be a situation where maybe they're going to continue a Kaiser Sheamus feud going forward, and Braun's going to move on to something else because, like I'm saying, those two are going to cancel each other out. And Braun's going to end up pulling out some sort of victory. You know, where like Sheamus hits his finishing move on Kaiser, but then Braun Breaker knocks him out of the ring and then pins Kaiser, or vice versa, whatever.
Yeah.
But the mayor talked himself into Sheamus, but I agree with what the mayor said. I just can't see them having Braun lose the belt again so soon to losing it and then regaining it. That feels like an old WWE booking scenario, not a new WWE booking scenario. So I'm going to go with Breaker to retain. What about you, Glenn?
I've been watching the highlights on YouTube for Raw and SmackDown. And I agree about Ludwig Kaiser is probably doing his best work since they came into the WWE into NXT.
Yeah.
But I just can't look past Braun Breaker to retain. And I think you've got a point, Brent, that they'll do some sort of shenanigans, just get him a win that will carry on the feud between Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser.
So it would have been a clean sweep of Braun, but the mayor's worst enemy when it comes to picking himself.
Well, that could win him it.
No.
That could be. Yeah, you never know.
My worst enemy is Chelsea Green, but
let me check. She ain't on this card, so
not on the card.
He's on my card at all times.
Pal, I do that one. All right, let's talk about the women's War Games match. I've talked about my displeasure of, and I don't want to sound like a fucking I don't want to sound like I want to sound like a chauvinistic asshole here, and that's not what I'm trying to say. The reason why I don't like this women's War Games match is because it feels like it's just an amalgamation of a bunch of people thrown together. You've taken 3 feuds and you've thrown it all into one match, and I just don't really. I don't like to have a War Games match for the sake of having a War Games match. So this for me, just I don't know. It's what it is. What it is. I mean, maybe it'll be a great match, but I don't like the whole setup of it. It's Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and the newly formed to the team Bayley with the injury to Jade Cargill, taking on Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and while I love Candice LeRae, this one left me puzzled and scratching my head as to how the fuck she got into this at all. Candice LeRae is on their team too. I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't fucking know because. Like I said, it's just like an amalgamation of a bunch of feuds because I don't know. I'll just go with the babyface team because of what we'll talk about when I talk about the main event match, what I think will be the main event anyway. So, and to go with parity, I'm going to go with the babyface team. So I'm going with Team Ripley, I'll call them. Team Ripley for me. What about you, Glenn?
I'm going the other way. I'm going the heel team. Mainly because there's too many moving parts in that babyface team. They're talking about that Naomi could turn on Bianca, and Rhea Ripley's her own thing. She's off there's Bailey as well. You throw her into the mix. God, unstable to me. And it is as you say, Britt, it just seems like they've just thrown a load of people together to try and create a team.
Yeah, it's like they took a board, right? And they had a bunch of names on the board and they started just like drawing. They were like drawing lines and they're like, oh, we can match this person to that person, to this person to that person. That's
it.
You see with a big board, like, there's a bunch of drawings on it and shit.
And it's not very often we say that about the booking now of WWE, but yeah, I'm going with the heel team.
The heels. What about you, Mayor of Canton?
Oh man, I really can't. I'm not invested in this one at all. I feel like the only storyline that I care about going into it is Rhea and Liv. The rest of it, like you said, is just kind of all thrown together, really. And I don't know if you did see that Jade isn't going to be part of it, and I don't think they announced the fifth member yet.
It's Bailey.
Bailey's going to be the fifth member?
Yeah, they announced it on Raw.
Okay. I must have fallen asleep before the end of it then. But
I only know because Glenn told me.
Okay. So Bailey's going to be the fifth member. It's just like you guys were saying. The way that I look at this match is like if you took your 10 favorite ice cream flavors and just threw them all in a bowl together and mashed them up.
Yep.
Separately, they're all good. Maybe a few of them are good together, but you mix all of them together without there's no reason for it. Like you just don't need to do it. And that's what I see this match being because there's no reason for this. And it probably will be somewhat fun because there's going to be a couple high spots here and there. Io's probably going to jump off the cage and do something crazy.
With a trash can on her head or something.
Yeah, and maybe Candice will do something crazy. I'm guessing the only reason I'm going to take the babyface team just because I see Candice kind of there just to take the pin.
Yeah.
But usually when I can't make a decision, I always go with the babyface. Spoiler alert. I never have said that before, but when I'm just kind of like lost on who to choose and I have no dog in the fight, I usually just go the babyface. So that's why I'm picking the babyface team. I see Candice taking this loss, and I really don't care about the match, but am I still going to watch it? If I survive through Ohio State and Michigan day on the same day, 3 hours before that, I will I'll be watching it.
Well, I think many hours before that because the Michigan game starts at like noon, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it ends at like 4, but we usually have some festivities afterwards. So,
well, obviously, who doesn't?
Outside of them losing.
Nebraska plays Iowa, but we play on Friday, so.
Yeah, screw Iowa too.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Iowa, idiots out wandering around. But so yeah, me and Glenn me and the mayor are going with the baby faces. Glenn is taking the heels. I'm sure the match will be fine. It just every year there's one War Games match that makes sense and has a story, and then there's one War Games match that it just seems like they just threw a bunch of people in there and see what sticks.
It's that thing of they don't seem to have sort of faction feuds as much with the women as they do with the men.
Yeah.
And there's this insistence, and it's because people will complain if they weren't on there, of having a women's war game match and a men's.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess last year's wasn't so bad because they had Damage Control play Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. Which besides Becky Lynch, I mean, Damage Control had fucked with all those people all year. So I guess that one does make sense to me.
That was fine. But the way things are now, with the amount of interest they've got, apart from Damage Control, no real factions. It just seems a bit of a weird thing to do. They would be better off having a couple of women's matches, just having the men's war games rather than having the two war games matches.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at how WCW used to format the old War of Games matches, it would always be like a faction, usually a faction versus a band of baby faces. You know what I mean? That and
Yeah.
a common goal that they hate this faction. When you
Yeah.
don't have one group that's actually a solid faction, it's hard to then throw a group of baby faces at a bunch of people because honestly, it's when you look at a group of heels, they shouldn't be cohesive with each other because they're a bunch of cheating, backstabbing, then they do anything to get ahead, right? So they're not going to need a team, and they'll stab you in the back just as soon as they stab somebody else. So unless they're in a real tight knit group and just a bunch of heels together, just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm all for equality, and I want more women's matches, and I'm glad that they've got a women's U.S. title now, and they've got a women's Intercontinental Champion that they're starting now, and that's great. But I don't want to have matches just for the sake of having them. Just like we used to have,
especially with
TLC pay-per-view just for the sake of having one. You had a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view for the sake of having one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessary.
Sorry. Old man coming off of his soapbox now. The next match is for the United States Championship. It is LA Knight taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Glenn, who you got?
LA Knight.
Yeah.
All day. Shinsuke's been knocking him over, beating him up for the last few weeks. There is no way that LA Knight is losing this.
Glenn? I mean, Mayor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
No, I feel like there's no reason to take the title off LA Knight. You got to keep him strong. His run's been going a little bit flat almost, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just for me, and no one else is feeling that way. But I don't know. Something isn't right. Like I feel like he should be moving on from this, which makes me wonder.
You go again.
No, it's you can't take the belt off of him to move him into the main event picture right now because no, you just can't do it. So, because Cody has the belt, like you're not going to set up an LA Knight Cody feud.
Yeah, and you're getting too close to WrestleMania time for him to be putting toward the main event. Yeah.
So you've got to keep it on LA Knight here and build up a legitimate contender for him. I don't know who that's going to be at this stage. I mean, maybe Logan Paul again.
Maybe.
They really had good chemistry together. That's what some of my favorite LA Knight stuff was with Logan Paul. So since Logan's been gone, I haven't enjoyed it as much.
Since you've been gone. Sorry.
Yeah, Logan Paul, Kelly Clarkson. Who knew that was the matchup we always needed. Yeah, so Logan Paul wins. Yeah.
Well, Logan Paul's not in the match, but LA Knight's going to win.
Yeah, that's what I meant. LA Knight.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything that you guys said. I'm sure it'll be a good match. These guys. It's nice to see Nakamura doing something because I feel like he wasn't even on TV for months, so that's nice. I can't really comment on where he would go from here because I don't watch the shows, and the reason why I don't watch the shows is because they took all their shit off Hulu. Assholes. I'm sure it'll all be on Netflix when that comes around in January. But up until then, I won't be able to watch Raw or SmackDown because I don't get that fucking channel. But yeah, LA Knight's gonna win. I can't see Nakamura taking the title off him.
No, I feel like Nakamura's run in WWE's been knocking on heaven's door.
Yeah, you're not lying. You are not lying. Unless, like you said, they're going to plan for LA Knight to win the Royal Rumble, but I doubt it. The next one is Gunther. He will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Damian Priest. I know I don't have to ask, but I will. Mayor?
I'll keep it short and sweet because I got long-winded earlier. Gunther. Zero chance Gunther does not win here.
There's no way the mayor can talk himself out of that one.
No, there's no chance.
What if...
Unless Tiffany Stratton cashes in on Gunther. And he just lays down for her.
Well, he's got Genie at home. He doesn't need to do that. just spitballing, hypothetical. Going, what? Mayor, what if Chelsea Green has a match against Gunther? Who you pick?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
I mean, I don't know how I choose that. I've
world
got to choose Gunther just because there's no way he could lose to her. But my heart wouldn't be able to do it.
There's a will, there's a way. Yeah, Gunther. I don't know. I'm sure Gunther is going to win this one clean because I guess he did have sort of a little bit of help at, SummerSlam where he won it because Finn came out there. So I don't see anybody else screwing Damian Priest out of the belt. So out of the match. So I'm going to just go Gunther wins it clean. It should be a great match because their match at SummerSlam was good. And Damian Priest, I wasn't the biggest fan of Damian Priest when he was in NXT, and I think it was just because I didn't like the gimmick that they had him in because it was like some sort of club hopping playboy, and he just doesn't have that look. But everything he's been doing with the Judgment Day and since the Judgment Day's been over, he's been really, really great. So, but I do think Gunther's going to win. What about you, Glenn?
Gunther. It's got to be Gunther. Again, they've been doing this story where there seems to be doubt, and Priest keeps beating him up. So, and there seems to be a lot of that story going around on right.
There's one person I don't think you can really doubt. It's Gunther. And they're trying to build the doubt in Gunther. What's he lost? 2 matches in 7 years?
That's right. Yeah. I think he wins this and gets even meaner than ever. Goes back to the old Gunther just slapping everybody into next week.
I hope so.
It's going to be interesting to see what the plans for the World Heavyweight Championship are going to be at WrestleMania. For me, I'd have him carry it to WrestleMania. But it's gonna be interesting to see who he faces because I don't know. I'll pose the question: if you could pick somebody for Gunther to defend the World Heavyweight Championship against at WrestleMania, Mayor, who would you pick?
CM Punk.
Okay.
I'd have CM Punk on that end, and then I'd have, oh boy, the other side's tougher for me actually because I don't know if I still have Cody there.
I think it's going to be The Rock.
See, I want to say maybe The Rock and Roman have a non-title match.
I'd rather have that, but I feel like it's going to be Cody or Rock for the title. But I don't want that. I'd rather have Rock versus Roman because that makes more sense to me.
See, I was going completely opposite what I was talking about earlier. How I thought it might be Cody and LA Knight, with LA Knight being the heel. And obviously, and then Roman and Rock having their own match, probably closing out but the night too.
Yeah.
Even without a title. And then Gunther and CM Punk being the close of night 1.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. What about you? Glenn, if you had to pick somebody, who would you pick?
To face Gunther.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
I'm going to throw a Hail Mary here. There's somebody that's going to be around for WrestleMania who's on the verge of breaking a record. And I think it could be John Cena against Gunther.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say Ilya.
I think Ilya's out for a while. But
just because they tear the house down.
Yeah, exactly.
That isn't going to happen, but they would absolutely tear the house down.
Number 3 of those two would be too good for WrestleMania.
I don't hate that idea. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens. I don't hate the John Cena idea. I don't hate the CM Punk idea either. I feel like they want to do Rollins versus CM Punk at WrestleMania, but I also feel like Punk came back to have a main event match for a title at WrestleMania, and that's what they're gonna do. So I don't think.
Could you see something really weird happening, like Gunther Goldberg at Mania?
No.
Or Gunther and Brock at Mania if they bring back Brock in time? If he ever comes back,
Maybe.
he may never come back. I mean, you start having piss videos sent to you by former employees.
Yeah, that's not a good look. Yeah, I don't know. I would be very surprised if it was but who was the first person you said? Sorry.
Gunther and Goldberg, because
Yeah,
he's in Goldberg's final retirement match at the last Saudi show with Gunther.
I mean, that's fine if you want to do that in Saudi Arabia, but please, for the love of God, do not do that at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. No, it's not a WrestleMania match.
That's awful. But here we go. It's the main event. It's the war, the family war, with a couple of people thrown in. The new bloodline versus the old bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Toma Tonga, Tongaloa, and Bronson Reed taking on Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and the newly appointed CM Punk. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Glenn, what do you think about CM Punk being the last member of the team? Do you like that? You think it makes sense? You don't think it makes sense?
It makes sense in a way because it ties in with the story of Paul Heyman and CM Punk.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to cost the OG bloodline the match.
You think so, huh?
I do.
So you're picking the new bloodline then?
Yes. Yeah. I think this is going all the way to WrestleMania. And then you end up with, I don't know if they'll put a title on The Rock or not, but you'll have Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania, which everybody's been wanting for the last two.
Yeah, several years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go with the new bloodline for the win with CM Punk or Paul Heyman somehow turning on Roman.
So there was two things I saw from the video of, Paul Heyman announcing that Punk was the newest member. It's like, I don't know if it means anything or it's just weird wrestling fans trying to think of, weird things. But Paul Heyman did like a sly little wink to Jimmy Uso while he's standing on the apron. And nobody else is looking at it but Jimmy, and he did like a sly little wink. So I don't know if that means something. And also, I thought it was funny the way that Paul was dressed because he had like a red undershirt with a black blazer. I mean, not with a black jacket, and he kind of looked like the way Solo Sikoa dresses. So I'm like, it made me start to think that something was up. And I feel like the new bloodline has to win. Like, they have to win for this thing to keep going. Because, wait a minute, the new bloodline won at the Saudi show, right?
They won at the Saudi show, yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't the big one. Solo pinned Roman at the Saudi show.
Okay, well, I'm sticking with my guns. I just think the new bloodline has to show like dominance over the bloodline, and I feel like something's gonna happen with Paul Heyman and someone on that team that's gonna cost them. And I don't know if it's gonna be CM Punk, if it's gonna be Sami Zayn, or if it's gonna be, I don't know, but I do feel like something's going to happen that's going to cause the new bloodline to win. I do think it has something to do with Paul Heyman. What about you, Mayor of Ken?
I'm so torn on this for so many different reasons.
Let's talk about it.
I really think that the OG bloodline with Roman Reigns and CM Punk win here for the moment of Roman and CM Punk being together and being able to win for like they're working together, but they're going to have a feud down the line. And then I also think, well, what is Paul Heyman getting into this for other than to tie those two together? Or is he, like you said, working with Solo and maybe even someone more powerful in the confines of WWE, namely The Rock, who happens to be on the board of members now.
Right.
And does The Rock come back tonight or on Saturday? And then I start thinking about The Rock, and he's this same weekend, he's got 2 movies coming out. Like he had a movie came out last week, and I think Moana 2, a Disney movie for little kids, is coming out. Does he really want to come out as a heel, dropping F-bombs and beating people with belts?
He doesn't care.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. But I feel like his publicist and people besides him, maybe they do. I don't know. All of this stuff is like playing into my head on who I think is going to win here. And none of it actually has to do with the match or WWE itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because The Rock really controls the purse strings of what's going on in this match if he's involved. Because that doesn't work for me, brother. Isn't a Hogan thing anymore. It's a Rock thing.
That's a Rock thing, yeah. The final boss.
I'm just gonna say the new bloodline. No. I'm gonna say the OG Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Jimmy, and Jay,
And Sammy.
And Sammy win this here.
Going with the OG bloodline.
Yeah.
Oh, there we have it. So we got some differences. I mean, we all didn't agree in the first match. We all didn't agree in the second match. The only matches we agreed on, we all agreed on LA Knight and we all agreed on Gunther. So more than likely, we'll break the tie because currently me and Glenn are the champions, and the mayor is currently not a champion, at least not in pay-per-view pickings. He is a champion in life, though, so that's okay. That's all right. But that's our picks. And now it's time to make some separate picks. It's time for us to give you our Dream War Games picks. Now, let me ask you this, guys. I know we all made some serious picks of our serious guys that we would want to go into battle for us. But we also made some silly teams. And I made a few silly teams. And I don't know if you guys want to start with the silliness first or if you want to do like a mixed bag. We could do a little bit of silly and then someone will read their team and we'll do some more silly. What do you think?
We are a work in progress podcast, aren't we?
That's true.
We've got to go silly first.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, does anybody have more than one?
I only picked one, but if I'm going to do more, I can probably throw some off the top of my head if I have.
Okay, to get your creative juices flowing, I'll start because I got like 8 of them. So I'll throw out the first one. The first one I've got is the worst team ever. It features the Booty Man, the Butcher, the Deceitful, the Zodiac, and Brutus, the fucking Barber Beefcake. The worst team ever.
So one guy shows up.
Yep.
Yeah,
but is Kimberly with him?
Okay.
No, I wasn't saying anything. There was the mayor said it's Kimberly with them.
Oh, it's Kimberly. Yeah, she could be the booty babe, I guess. Yeah. No, she's not with him because we don't want to give the team anything good. We don't want to do that because it's fucking Brutus. I've also got the MCs, which is PN News, PG-13, John Cena, R-Truth.
Yo, baby.
Their manager will be Oscar from Men on a Mission, and of course, he was a rapper. He had a rap album. Be a Man Hogan. Randy fucking Savage is on the team too, baby.
Yo, baby.
With Oscar from Men on a Mission as their manager.
Excellent.
What about you, Mayor? Who you got?
Well, I only have one team but I could probably come up with a random one real quick.
Go ahead, throw one at me.
To go against yours. So I'm gonna just go the complete Jobbers squad to rival yours.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Kazarni.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We got Kazarni.
Oh, no.
We've got
The
Goon.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, we've got to have the Brooklyn Brawler in there.
Well, yeah.
And then since you're doubling it down, I'm going to go Brooklyn Brawler is also the manager as the beekeeper.
Kimchi.
Yeah. And then I've got 2 more here with that. Barry Horowitz, because he's got a badass mullet and he finally got like 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah. Over Skip.
And then not so much a jobber in all of his gimmicks, but a jobber in one, and that's The Red Rooster. He's
Red
pecking
Rooster.
away at getting into the Survivor. I actually saw the Red Rooster at a Survivor Series. So.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, in 1980 and 1988.
Yeah, either 88 or 89. I'm not sure which one, but one of them, he was on a Survivor Series match. So that's my Jobber Squad one.
What about you, Glenn? What kind of silly team you got for us?
Well, I've got two. Luckily, I've got a jobber team as well. That just called the Jobbers because they all did jobs.
That's right.
They got Duke the Jumper Josie,
Yes.
Erwin R. Shyster, the Big Boss Man, Friar Ferguson, and Repo Man.
Friar Ferguson. Not a lot of people remember Friar Ferguson. That was Bash and Booger before Bash and Booger. He was fucking
Bash and Booger, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was he also Norman the Lunatic?
He was Norman the Lunatic, yeah.
He was.
Okay, that's what I remember him as.
I also have the Freebird, but not the. I mean, it does have Michael Hayes, Buddy Roberts, and Terry Gorey, but it also has the Gobbledygooker and the Red Rooster.
Yes. My other one is the Sports Stars. Abe Knuckleball Schwartz,
Yes.
the Goon, Thurman Sparky Plug, Simon Dean, and the boxer Mark Merrow.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that one. That's awesome.
That's a good one.
I love that one. I've also got the Zoo, which is the Shark, Shark Boy, Arachnaman, Battle Cat, and of course, Mantar.
Oh, nice. I've got a good tie-in with those ones then, kind of.
Yeah.
Since we're just doing kind of gimmick stables, I went with a whole natural disaster / epidemic team. And I had to base this around our favorite man of all time, Earthquake.
Of course.
And then you had Typhoon. Then another natural disaster that could hit, the Texas tornado. And then the stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
I think hurricane.
So we've got 4 natural disasters and then 1 man-made natural disaster hailing from 3 Mile Island, Atom Bomb.
Atom Bomb. Oh, superb.
That's amazing. That's great.
So that's my team of natural / man-made disasters.
That is awesome. So I've got 2 more. This team is called the Long Dick of the Law. It's the Mountie, the Big Boss Man, the Trooper, who was a WCW wrestler, and of course he made 1 appearance, but he was on a wrestling show. Nobody's gonna be able to stop this team because it's RoboCop, because he's on the team too.
Oh, God.
And last but not least, of course, the most handsome team ever, featuring Handsome Earthquake, Handsome Avalanche, the Handsome Shark, and Handsome Golga. And last but definitely not least, just John Tenta, the handsomest man that's ever walked God's green earth.
Yep.
And that team would be so handsome, all the ladies would fall.
If you had to make a War Games team of men that would drink you under the table, who would be your 5 picks? I mean, Andre's got to be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Andre has to be on. And
But
Ric
after
Flair.
that, I mean, Harley?
Harley, Steve Austin.
Yeah. Austin. So that's 4. Maybe the Undertaker?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Undertaker could put him away.
Yeah.
He just like drinking whiskey, too, or whiskey.
Yeah.
I heard that he would, to make sure that you weren't like gimmicking or like pouring them out or spitting them out, that they would make you gargle them.
Yeah.
Now, I heard Flair pretended like he could drink everyone at the table and would just throw shots over his shoulder.
He's a smart one.
He was a phony drinker.
Speaking of drinking, I finally got my hands on some of that Blackberry Crown. It's superb. With a little bit of juice, it's really good. All right, well, there you go. I don't have any more goofy ones. Anybody else got any goofy ones they want to throw out there?
No, that was all the ones I had.
No. That's
All right.
all I was.
Who wants to give their team first? Raise your hand.
I'll go.
Okay.
Oh, Glenn goes.
All right. Well, let's
So I'll go.
We might have some duplicates here.
Yeah. These two came to mind only because we watched them have a barnstormer of a match at WrestleMania 14. So we got the Brothers of Destruction, Undertaker and Kane. Got Austin, The Rock, and John Cena. Is my serious team.
That's pretty good. So you got Kane, Undertaker, Austin, Rock, and John Cena. I like that team. That's good. What about you, Mayor of Ken? I guess we'll let you go next.
I've got guys that I think could work together really well as a whole heel stable because I love heel stables in war games.
Right.
And also all of them are longevity guys. Like these guys could just go. Now, one of them might not be so much of a heel, but I'm throwing him in there anyway for one reason. I'll get to him. The first would have to be Ric Flair. He's the OG from War Games. Like, all the original War Games had 4 horsemen to settle the score. And obviously Ric Flair's got to be there for me.
Yeah.
After that, I think of an Iron Man. I think of HBK. Like he's going and going and going, especially coked up 90s HBK. He's having some sunny days.
No, all of it.
And then another heel that I love that was in a War Games match, but I'm just going to go with the more heel version of him, and that was Mr. Perfect.
It's great.
He could absolutely go in the match. So I've got Ric Flair, HBK, Mr. Perfect. I'm getting a lot of Minnesota guys here because the next guy I'm picking also from Minnesota, War Games veteran Rick Rude.
Yeah.
So now I've got Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, HBK, Flair, and then the last random guy, not so much known as a heel, but I need someone that's willing to do some death-defying stuff that I think would just like fit in with that group, who could maybe party with them, have a little fun with them, maybe get them mellowed out before the match, and that would be RVD. So I've got RVD, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, HBK, and Ric Flair. Like 5 of my all-time favorites, all thrown together in a War Games match. I mean, that's pretty unbeatable for me.
That is one hell of a team. I mean,
it is a hell of a team.
Yeah, you got a well-rounded squad there. What I kind of like what I did is like I kind of went like I didn't take one from every era, but I kind of like went through my eras of wrestling that I watched, and I picked out my favorite person from every era. So like I didn't pick anybody from the 80s because I looked through the 80s and I was like, no, I don't want to pick anybody from the 80s. So I went to the 90s. Like my favorite wrestler in the 1990s was Shawn Michaels. So I picked like from 90 to 95, Shawn Michaels was probably my favorite wrestler. So I picked Shawn Michaels. And then from like 95 to 99, it was probably Steve Austin. So then I picked Steve Austin. And then I couldn't think of anybody because I didn't want to pick The Rock. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to pick The Rock. So I couldn't think of anybody. So I went to the next era. I couldn't think of anybody. So I went to the next era. So then I picked, of course, he's like my favorite of all time, John Cena. So I had to put John Cena on my team. And then if you went to the next era, it would probably be Daniel Bryan. So I put Daniel Bryan on my team. And if you looked at like today's era, as opposed to like someone that I could turn on a match all the time and watch and enjoy watching. And if you have a team of 5 wrestlers that you're looking to kick some ass, you're always going to want this guy on your team. I picked Gunther.
I almost put Gunther in over Rick Rude. I didn't do it. I had to go old school.
I just feel like Gunther right now is like the perfect professional wrestler because like it doesn't matter who he faces or what show it's on or what's going on. You put on a Gunther match and you're gonna get a fucking show regardless. So that's why I had to pick him because I couldn't think of that. He was the first person that came to my mind when I thought of this era of wrestling.
With Gunther, if you throw Ilya in there and Vader, Harley Race, and Bron Breakker, you've got a hell of a stiff team there.
Yeah.
They need that. They need Mark Henry's theme song. Somebody gonna get the ass kicked. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Imagine just putting your quarter on the table to play pool against one of them, and they just knock your quarter off, and you're like, yeah.
I ain't going
Okay.
over
Okay.
there. I'm not playing that.
There's a crush a pole ball with their bare hand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a pretty badass team. I like that. I'd throw Shamrock maybe in there somewhere too, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you were gonna think about guys that were like shoot tough, I mean, I'm picking Haku, of course, and
that's a good team.
Yeah,
Haku, Shamrock, Brock.
I mean, I'm gonna pick all Samoans. I'm going Haku. I'm going with Roman. I got Jacob Fatu.
Nia Jax.
Yeah, I'm fucking all of them. It's funny. So I had a friend when I was in high school middle school really, and he moved away to Hawaii for a couple years, and he would just randomly just call me up from Hawaii randomly, and I remember him telling me like, "Man, it's cool out here, but let me tell you, bro, if you get into a fight with one of them dudes from the island, you got to fight the whole island." Which I thought was funny. But there you go. For anybody keeping score at home, Glenn took the Brothers to Destruction, Austin, The Rock, John Cena. I took John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, Daniel Bryan, and Gunther. The mayor took Rick Rude, Ric Flair, HBK, RVD, and Mr. Perfect. If you at home want to tell us who you think's got the best team, please do that. If I had to pick one of these teams that wasn't my own, I would say the mayor's, because he did a really good job of thinking his team through. So I think the mayor did a good job with his team. So there we have it. That's it. We're done. We got nothing else to talk about. Glenn, who do you want to plug before we get out of here?
I'm booking the territory, doing the first and last of wrestling. There's still side projects. Unstacking the Dadatory, the road to Wembley, 1981 for Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, and the most watched wrestling match of all time. The Bin Elite Gator Golf, they're into Series 3 of that. I'm booking the Tankatory, the life and times of Tank Abbott, and of course,
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's on SJP World Media.
And definitely check those guys out this week. They did Revenge of the Autons, which was an old John Pertwee. They had a lot of mischief about them. It's absolutely hilarious. Like this week's Doctor Who podcast, so give that a listen.
Mischief and hilarious is always good. Don't forget the last one.
Oh, and DDT Wrestling with DC and Doc.
See, I knew what you had to say. I was there for you.
You were there.
What about you, Mayor of Ken? Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, sorry.
I know Glenn can probably tell me this, but how many people were watching the Haystacks Calhoun and Big Daddy
18 million tuned
18
in.
18 million?
Yeah.
Because I heard that an insane number to me, that this number is just freakishly insane, that 60 million people watched Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Friday. 60 million. That's 3 times that number plus some.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely crazy to me.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
So I mean, I that just is staggering to me. That still
it
60
makes
million.
me feel better that you just had to like have Netflix to get it, because if that many people spent $70 to watch it, then I'd be fucking seriously concerned at where we are in society. But
but still, I still feel like I don't know what the last Super Bowl number was, but it has to be fairly comparable to 60 million, right? Like that.
I imagine
that is a shit ton of people.
It's not amazing.
I'll get on to plugging our good friend, Mr. Thomas Bryce, and you can check him out at his website, sports with a Z, wireradio.org. That's SPORTZ, wireradio.org. And if you want to follow him personally on any of his accounts, it's Thomas Bryce 2017.
Yep.
And I feel like the random one is Instagram at Thomas Bryce 2020.
It's 2021, actually. I thought it was 2020 too, but it's 2021.
Have I been saying it wrong this whole time? I'm sorry,
Apparently.
Tom.
We all have, not just you, because I thought it was 2020. It's 2021.
I've been thinking he's just a huge fan of 2020 this whole time. Damn it.
Like I said, we thought he just loved the year 2020.
In the year 2000. Old Conan O'Brien skit. Anyway, check our good friend Thomas Bryce out and follow me on the old X. You can find me at Mayor of Canton and watch me eat things, rate them every Wednesday at 6 p.m., provided I remember to do so. And I've got a plan for tomorrow. I haven't recorded it yet, but if I pull this off, you should check it out because it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a two-parter.
Wow.
Where, I'm going to two different restaurants and making one amalgamation. So
a pothead's dream, yes.
A pothead's dream. So that's it for me then, I guess, fellas.
So just because you mentioned the ratings, and I love numbers, I'm a numbers guy, so I looked it up, and the Super Bowl did like twice that, like 120 million.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, 60 million is a lot. I'm not trying to disparage it. I'm just saying, and also you got to think about. The Super Bowl is a free over-the-air channel on Fox, so anybody can watch it. All you need is a TV antenna, and you can tune into Fox and watch the Super Bowl. So
yeah, even I watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. There's people in Bulgaria who don't know what football is, and are like, I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl because
they're just waiting for the losing team in Kenya. They're just waiting for the losing team so they can get their shirts that say.
I don't even think they do that anymore because you can sell shit on the internet. So I don't even think they do that anymore.
Like who lost last year? Was it the Detroit Lions? No, it was the Niners, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like Niners Super Bowl champion shirts.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like if the fucking Chiefs are in the Super Bowl again, I'm not even gonna watch it. I don't even want to watch it.
Too much. But you got to watch it for B. You know he's got to be a T Swift fan for it.
I'm honestly over the NFL as a whole. Like I don't even watch football on Sunday anymore. I don't even fucking care. I told my friend that runs our fantasy football league that I don't think I'm gonna play fantasy football this next year. I hate all those fucking assholes. I hate everybody who plays on my team. All they do is make me feel bad.
Yeah.
They hate me. Yeah.
My team has one less win than you, so cry it up. I like the worst team in the league.
I guess you're right. But maybe I'm just a crabby old man. I don't know. I say that. My team's won 5 games in a row, and I'm like, fuck fantasy football. But anyway, listen to me. I'm an old man who likes to yell at clouds, so you can hear me at least 3 times a week. No, but seriously, check us out on YouTube. We got the Life and Times of Psycho Sid. He ended his time in ECW this week. He teamed with Spike-led Dudley to team against this evil brothers, the Dudley Boys. He didn't really team with Spike Dudley. He didn't beat him up afterwards. But anyway, check that out. Lifetime Psycho Sid. He'll be headed to WCW to become the man of the millennium soon, which is what me and Ben Glenn have been waiting for since we started the show. So that'll be fun. And this week, me and Glenn are doing our random pay-per-view review for the month, and he has chosen NXT TakeOver Cardiff. So that's what we will be reviewing. We will be recording that tomorrow, and that'll be out on Thursday.
A cracking show it is too. It's one that basically anybody that's listening needs to watch it.
It was fucking great. I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but like, if every match, it kept getting better and better and better and better every single match.
Can you remind me what the main event of that one was?
Gunther versus
was it
Tyler
Ilya?
Bate.
Who was it? Gunther versus who?
It was Walter versus Tyler Bate.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't quite Gunther yet. He was still he looked a little different too, a little softer on the midsection he was.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ginny hadn't got her claws into him at that point.
Yeah. But that's it. That's all. I got nothing else to say, nothing else to plug, nothing else to bitch about. Well, I have a lot to bitch about, but I won't. Glenn, it's time for you to say goodbye.
Goodbye.